All right, good morning traders, and welcome to the All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. We'll be going through live order flow analysis, understanding the participants in the auction process. By reading the order flow, we can understand better understand their intent to trade, or where they're interacting, where they're transacting very precisely. And that's the edge with using order flow. Let's go through the disclosures, and we'll jump in here. All Bookmap Limited materials, information, go through the disclosures, presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. We had our Pro Trader webinar series last week, but we'll have the recordings available for you soon, this week sometime. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to release them. We had a really great series, so we're going to have another series here soon as well. Just to let you know, there's all sorts of things in the hopper upcoming. Some pretty exciting stuff over with the Bookmap community in our Discord channel. If you want to partake in the Discord channel, you can take a screenshot here with your phone and the QR code and join our Bookmap Discord. You will need to provide an email, and soon you'll also need to at least have the Bookmap digital version. All right, so all right, that said, let's jump in. Let's take a look at the markets here. This is the S&P E-mini that we're looking at. And let me see if there's any questions. Everyone can hear me fine over on Discord. Screen and audio is good. I think so. All good. Thank you, Stephen. All right. Okay. I'm going to do something. We're going to do something a little different today regarding the order flow. Today's Monday, and we have non-farm on Friday. We have a bunch of data coming out. Usually, the first couple of weeks of the month. That's when all the big data releases come out. Later today, we have Powell speaking. I think around 1 or 2 o'clock or something. So the market is going to be kind of difficult at the moment to trade and understand. It's going to be slopping around quite a bit. So we're going to try to understand what's working right now. How are traders reacting right now? And this relates back to many aspects of our education. And we've talked about this in the past many times about understanding the market from the viewpoint of first principles. And the first principle here is, what's making price move. And we've talked about how Bookmap is showing that very, very clearly in the order flow. We have the 3 elements on the chart that show price structure, volume or transactions within that price structure, and then the liquidity, the heat map here, showing the limit sell orders in this case, or limit buy orders down below in this case here. Now, we can even go backwards if we want, and maybe that's a good one right now, because we'll start with what's working right now at this very moment. All right, and we usually look at the context of these 3 elements to understand what's going on. All right, so for example, we just traded into high liquidity up here. Now, what we've seen today and many other days as well, look how we traded up into high liquidity, up into here, here, and here. Right? So what's happening now? Well, we just traded into high liquidity here, 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 and here. We would anticipate a pullback at this point, because there's a lot of supply up here, limit sell orders, and they are fulfilling or filling in their orders. Okay, the aggressors are taking them on and trading into them. Now, what happened down here? Well, there was more demand. And you can see we traded into high liquidity, but there was more demand to trade through it. Here, also, we get a little bit of a pullback here this time. Now we trade into high liquidity here, and now we're getting a bigger pullback. Okay, so this is something we want to keep an eye on. And we can go back here and like, well, what happened here? So did that work in this area here? Well, we have high liquidity here. And now I'm looking at the Trader Map Lite version, which you guys all have access to. It is free with the Bookmap paid subscription for, digital. Doesn't matter what version you have. Global and Global Plus for the futures here is what's mostly needed. As you guys know, that we have a big algo here. If we look back at the ES, it is this algo here that is kind of blowing out the heat map, and the Trader Map Lite and Trader Map Pro version can eliminate this algo or take it out of the equation in here. So that's what we're doing here. Here it is, and this is what it looks like. All right, so now, well, we're still seeing some more demand here. Okay, interesting. We're see, quite a bit of demand in here, trades into this high liquidity, but it did pull back. Look where it pulled back to. It pulled back, well, and it pulled back into this area here, and we got a little bit of a bounce, but it really pulled back to here. And that's where it bounced. Now we can go over why this happens and understand it. Is that this is where the buyers came in, this is where the sellers were, and we're going to see some sort of reaction here, most likely. And we always look for these things. In fact, we look for pullbacks into some of these transactions up in here first. This one just kept on going a little bit further. Now this is only a few points, but you will see this on any time frame. We pulled back into this area. And what did we find here? Well, we don't find much demand in the market here. We don't see limit buy orders bidding up underneath here in this area, nor do we see a lot of sellers coming in on supply side. Okay, so this is just kind of going back and forth in here. And then we do find a bit more. Here we have exhaustion. And here we traded up into some high liquidity here. Now it's not that high of liquidity, but we don't see that much demand either by the aggressive buyers. So we pull back. And here there's very little supply. And we see a little bit of liquidity in here. So it turned into like this uptrending market to looking for a pullback and just kind of sloshing around in here a bit. Just some supply, some demand back and forth in here. And then we do get some more demand by the aggressors in here. And they trade up into high liquidity, up into these areas here. And we would anticipate a pullback at that point. Okay, and we're getting it now. And now look where we've pulled back to. Here, here, and here. Again, these are areas of high liquidity. And now here's a nice pullback now. Okay, and we're seeing a lot of supply starting to come in. Okay, so now I would anticipate another. Now these are the aggressors moving the market down. We would anticipate there to be a pullback on the buy side for them to reach back to some of these areas in transactions like right here. And what I'm trying to do is we're just trying to go through and understand the market behavior. Okay, in terms of supply and demand. And this is what moves the market. It is the context between the price action and the supply and the demand. All right, any questions so far? This is kind of a little bit different tact or approach here. And we can, Rob, I saw your comments earlier about understanding VPOC, VWAP, etc. I just want to say offhand that those are derivatives of what we're talking about here, or aggregations. It's something that, and the assumptions can be very wrong understanding VPOC and VWAP. what really matters is if this is more of an like VPOC and VWAP are averages, and they can be a mean reversion type of back to the average, a move back into where there are a lot of transactions. Like for example, let's look at the profile here, and we can look at a minor VPOC in here, for example. So we're trading into high liquidity here. Okay, now how many trades took place up here? Not a whole lot. Okay, do we see a lot of demand? Actually, we're starting to see a little bit of demand, so maybe we will explore up here. Now, if we don't and we exhaust out, or we see heavy supply in here and the reaction to that is not more demand, then we're going to look for sellers to trade it back to, and in this case we would say the VPOC here or here, which I don't know if it is or not. Yeah, it is. Okay, so then we'd look for the pullback into these areas here. The first one though I would look for is here, around this 88 level here. I mean, the 88 is showing some liquidity, so I like it. We like it better, right? So now that's the context in here, and that's the understanding of the traders, and then going back into some sort of average here. I hope that makes sense. Okay, but I would suggest, Rob, try to just keep it simple and just go back through your chart here, and what is the market reacting to? And if it's something that you would like to, good morning, Caesar. If it's something that you would like to use for like a VPOC or an average or VWAP or whatever, that's fine. Do the same process and go back in time and look how the market is reacting to those areas. Okay, but this is really the key here, I feel. I'm just a firm believer in this is where there is supply and demand met the supply, and then we want to see what happens after that. Okay, so again, this is going back to the first principles and understanding what's moving the market. Okay, what is the market reacting to? All right, we can continue on and go backwards in here. Look at this move down into high liquidity down here at 80 and 79, and look at the move away. Now you don't see any buying down here except for these limit buy orders at this price level, and you get this kind of V bottom out of that level. So we can look at many different elements in here to understand this price level down here. We can look at our higher time frames. We can look at other indicators. But what we do know is that there is demand down here. And we're at the low of this move here that the buyers were able to move price away at the cash open. Okay, that's what unfolded here. Here's our 930 cash open and the move to the upside. And buyers remain in control from the cash open. If we look at this in here, all of this action has happened within the cash open 930. Okay, so far that is bullish. All right, let me see if there's any questions here. No. All right. Okay, so we can continue on going back in time and looking again. And why are we doing this? It's understanding these elements on the chart. Now this is the exercise in the journaling, and it's actually step 1 of the journaling for the Bookmap Academy. If any of you are interested in the Bookmap Academy, it's a coaching and mentoring program through your trade journaling. And once you start to mark up your screenshots and identify these elements in here, you can start to then focus them into a more studied approach, and that can lead to a setup for yourself. Instead of following someone else's setup, you start to understand the markets, and you will build something that you can lean on as an edge. Okay, so for example, this is actually a really nice example. Here we trade up into high liquidity. They absorb a lot of it. There's a little bit more demand that trades through, and then it doesn't. And it comes back down and trades to demand on the bid down in these areas in here. Okay, and then we see at the cash open, we see the move here to the upside. So this was where there was some demand. And then we see like, sellers hitting the bid, but they're failing to move this lower. Cash open, everything really changes. So it's not the best example because of the market timing. However, it is still holding true that this demand holds, and we come back up and start to trade into high liquidity and make the transactions into the buyers, or I'm sorry, the sellers on the offer, right? Okay, so we're going to move on. So I think that made my point here, or understanding that what's moving the markets and what is the market reacting to by just going back in history and starting to understand that. And this is a great exercise not only for building your own strategies, but taking it another step further. What about the day? How is it reacting today in this environment at this time frame? In the New York morning here, we've talked many times about market timings and reversals, and trap traders, etc. And that's another element to bring in here. And that again is market participants during a specific time. Right, so that's what we're starting to understand here, and that's why we're going through this process in here. Now, we can also go through this process by looking at the candlestick charts. Same ideas in here, but here we have very, very limited transparency into what's going on. All we have here is price action. Now we have volume in the subchart. You can put on all sorts of indicators, etc. But really those, again, are derivatives of what's going on. It's not really showing you what the market is reacting to. It is making some sort of calculation based off of volume, price action, and time. Okay, now let's take a look here on the 15-minute chart. Well, maybe we'll start with the daily. But look at us trade up to this area up here on the 15-minute. Let me just zoom in a little bit further. All right. So here, now you can see we opened up down here, and you can see we filled this gap here, and then we have the buyers come up, retest this area here. And we get a bit of a pullback. Now we're still seeing buyers come in here. Okay, so that's interesting. So now if we get enough buyers to come in and retest this area up here, it will likely, there's a higher likelihood it will break, or at least trade up into maybe this 93 here area. Okay, here we go. Here they come. All right, now let's jump over to Bookmap. All right, so now what happened here? Well, we're looking for these traders to move the market at least up to like 94. Okay, 94 is right up here. And now let's look at what happened here. And these are the footprints in the sand. So we see that demand came in and traded into high liquidity here. We immediately get a pullback after that. And now we're seeing a bit more demand come in here as well. Now let's get rid of this rectangle so we can see a little bit more with more clarity here. Okay, now we get a retest back up here, and we don't have as much demand. Okay, demand here, less demand. Let's see if sellers try to trade it back down into the high liquidity that's on the bid down here at 90. And then we'll see what happens after it trades into, if it trades into 90. Okay, there's the transaction. Now, supply met demand. Now we're looking forward to see if there's still more supply, or does this completely absorb it, and do we get demand now? So if we get demand in here, right in here, I'm looking for it to trade up into 92 and maybe up into 94. And let's see if we get it here. And there's some exhaustion or lack of supply, and now we're getting some demand. Okay, let's see the buyers then reach the sellers up here at 92. And let's see if there's even more demand up here to reach our 94 level, or maybe even 95 up here. That's where the high liquidity is. So Rob, I mean, really appreciate your comments in here, minimizing risk, etc., and looking at your restudying your VWAP and VPOC, and etc. I would suggest that you look at, or just try to maybe distance yourself from that for the moment, and just understand supply and demand, and who's got more power in here in these areas, and just listen, and then keep your studies going on what you're doing, but just try to absorb some of this, some of these ideas, because when you start to, we want to understand maybe you're looking at some levels that regarding VPOC or VWAP or whatever it might be, but start to look at the order flow around those levels, and that's probably where you'll get more bang for your buck. Okay, so we were looking for our buyers in here to trade back up into 92. Started to get them here. We exhaust out here. We see very little buying, and then we see sellers coming in. Okay, so it's kind of sloshing around in here. It's back down to the bottom of this range, and there is more demand in here. Okay, and we just traded into some demand here as well. All right, so I'm still looking for buyers to see if we can trade back up into, now it's 91 and a half here. Okay, maybe we can get a little bit higher, maybe into that 92, and then our 94. Okay, so here we go. We just traded into this this liquidity here at 88. Okay, so now let's see if we get our buyers now, and then we lift it to 91 and a half. Okay, this one, after this transaction here, not enough demand. Okay, and so we trade back into more demand on the bid here and here, and now we're getting our move. Okay, and I'm looking still for buyers to trade up to 91 and a half, and that our 92 liquidity up here has been pulled, and it's up here, looks like maybe at 93 or 94, 95. Actually, it looks like these traders potentially pulled it from 92 to bring it back down to 91 and a half. Okay, now let's take a look at this, and this is kind of middle of the range. Now there's high supply in here, or high demand, but the sellers took them on. Okay, so that's, we know that. Now we're down at this lower level here, and we're finding more demand in the book in here, and this is going to help us, because this is, at this point here, this is a little bit higher time frame. We're not in the middle in here in the chop. And now it's not much, but it's a little bit. We trade into this level here, and then we're looking for our demand by the aggressors. Okay, now we got a little bit of it, and we totally exhaust out here and here. Okay, so not much demand, right? Well, how does that help us in our strategy? It just doesn't. So right now, this is not a high probability trade. It looked pretty good as it traded back down into some of this demand demand here on the bid, and then we see some of the buyers starting to come in here. Okay, now it's looking a little different. We are starting to get some demand. Okay, higher volume here on the higher buy volume here. All right, so now let's see if they can trade to that 91 and a half here. Okay, so this is looking much better. This was not looking so good. This is looking much better. Okay, now we'll look at, and maybe this auction changes here. Maybe there's more on the offer up here, more supply comes in and skews the order book. Okay, we never know. Yeah, there's a little bit more. See it coming in here. So this is the process to start to go through and understand what's making this market tick. Let's see, Caesar standard deviations holding price. Okay. Right. All right. So anyway, just trying to keep things very, very simple here and understanding this price structure here and then supply and demand. Okay, so what Caesar is talking about in terms of like standard deviations or, whatever it might be, you're talking about a more kind of statistical understanding of where price kind of finds demand or supply, or kind of trying to understand the structure, the range. Okay, well, we're looking right at it in here, like this range on this time frame is here. Okay, so we're looking for trading. Well, we're looking for the high demand here on the bid, and this one didn't work out up at this higher level here. This one is so far so good. It's holding. Okay, now you can use that to build an edge. Yeah, that's nice to hear, Caesar. Yeah, all derived from the order flow. It's all from the transactions and the price action. Yep, absolutely, everything is. That's the market participants in the marketplace and in the auction. The only way that they can participate is via their orders. Okay, so therefore it has to be the orders or lack of orders that make the price action. Okay, we're back down to the bottom of this range in here. So our idea traded up into some of this liquidity up in here and failed. Now it came back down. Came back down to where though? Look where it came. Now, again, do we see support in here? Meaning support is a little different than supply and demand. Support in terms of like our traders, buyers supporting it down here, okay, with their orders. So is there more demand down here? And it's a little bit lower in here. And that's kind of bearish. If we don't see high liquidity on the bid at a higher level in here, they're kind of pulling it away. Well, then that means that they don't want to be a buyer to support it at this level here. There's not as much demand. And it allows sellers to trade into and through some of these areas here. Yeah, exactly, Caesar. We're all looking at exactly the same data, no matter. Well, we hope to be looking at the same data. That might be an issue by the data provider, the exchange, or whomever. But let's just say if in a level playing field, we're all looking at the same data, and that's why the data provider and the exchange can be so incredibly important. Okay, well, here comes our demand after retesting back down here. Okay, and now we're trading back up into, well, the high liquidity up at this 91.5 has transacted, or it transacted into that area. Okay, well, do we still see more demand? Not yet. Not yet. It's totally absorbed the demand up here at this 91.5. Jason, over on YouTube, what the colors mean? Sure. Over here in the heat map, red and orange is very high liquidity. So this here, you can see 100 or 200 contracts up here at this 91.5. In this viewable chart range, this is the most in the order book up here. So a lot of supply up here. All right, and then it scales down, as you can see. We'll brighten it up here just so you can see it a little bit better and understand the colors. Red and orange, very high liquidity, then yellow, white, blue, and then black is the least amount of liquidity. Okay, maybe you like this view here, or maybe you like something very, very slight in here, something like this. You want to understand that liquidity, but you want to understand it within the price structure or the aggressors, the volume in here. So that's price structure is, well, very simply in here, we'll take the volume bars and dots off, and it's just the best bid and offer going back and forth in here. Okay, there's no aggregation of data. This is pure price action. Now with the dots, green dot is a market buy order, red dot is a market sell. Okay, but we want to understand that in context of the limit buy and sell orders that are derived from the DOM. Here's our DOM here, our COB column, and you can see that well, previously, remember we had 198 or 200 contracts here at this 91.5. What happened? They pulled it. So they were in here in the order book. Now there's 93 here. Okay, so they don't want to be sellers up here any longer. They pulled it away from the market. So, and guys, if just here's something to consider. If you're not seeing something that makes sense in here in terms of supply and demand, or it's kind of all over the place, and you go back in history like this, like we're doing, and you can't quite put it together, or it's not making much sense, or there's not a whole logic to it here. Like, for example, maybe it comes up here and they pull that liquidity. Well, you know, that's it doesn't transact. You know, we're going to get kind of price sloshing around in some of these areas in here. Maybe it's a good time to consider not trading if it's not making much sense, right? So we were looking for this move up in 92 back here because we traded into this here a little bit more. We traded into this here. I thought what would happen is we'd get enough buyers at this point here to trade back up into 92. Not looking for much here, right? We traded up into this liquidity up in here on the offer, and we pulled back, and we would anticipate that pullback, but it pulled back into high liquidity. So we'd look for more buyers to start to come back in. Okay, and it took a while here and went all the way back down to the bottom of the range. And now we're finding the demand coming into the market. Okay, and this was the move we were looking for earlier, and it just chopped around for a while. Yeah, the chat is a bit slow, Jason. So yeah, that's the setting we have right now on it. Yeah, I'm sorry if it kind of wastes your time a bit. But anyway, we got the question answered. Yeah, I mean, we want to encourage you guys to come over to the Discord channel if you like, and partake in the discussion over there. We're trying to kind of limit. I mean, we love our YouTube channel and our YouTube subscribers or attendees. We're going to focus more on the discussion or the chat over in our Discord, though, more than we will over on YouTube. So I don't know if you're interested in that. It's free. Come on over and partake in the All Markets channel. You might want to partake in the Bookmap Academy too. You can. It's free to join. You can even use the free version if you want. You'd only be able to look at one crypto market though. For live data, you can do markups on your delayed data though, no problem. All right, guys. Well, so here we go, like trading up into this now 93 and this liquidity here, and we're getting a bit of a pullback. All right, so let's see now sellers try to hit down into maybe this area here, 98, or I'm sorry, 89 or 90 here. Okay, so again, understanding our ranges in here and liquidity and the reaction by the aggressors here. So we trade up here and we're trading right back down into this area here. Okay, and now we'll see how did it react into this area in here. Well, some of it traded, some of it pulled, but there's more down here. So I wouldn't touch it until I see we trade into this high liquidity and I want to see buyers come out the other side. Now, and then I would stay away. Why do I wait for buyers on the other side? Because I don't know if there's still more supply that trades into demand here or even lower. Okay, down to here at 86. Right, we don't know that. Okay, well, we want to look at where we trade into high liquidity, and then we start to find buyers on the other side. Good morning, Alan. So there we go. See how that'll keep us away from buying in some of these areas in here. And now we're back down to the bottom of this range, previous range here. Okay, now I would anticipate now we traded into some high liquidity on the way down. I would anticipate pullback, and I would anticipate the pullback to probably right around here. Here first, and that's already happened. But let's see if we can get a little bit more demand in here. And then now let's also bounce this off of our higher time frame. So our higher time frame is showing that we had wicks up here, and we saw this little breakout just recently here up into 93. This is high of the day, and you can see that we pulled back now. Right, so we're reaching these areas, we're finding some demand, but not enough. And here come the mean reversion traders. And now they traded back down into this area here, which is what this is 88, and this is the second time down here at 88, and we're still finding more sellers. All right, well, how many more? So is this going to reject and come back up in here, or are we going to trade back down into some sort of mean down here around 85, or maybe even some of these lower levels here at this point? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so here's our deeper pullback. This is what we were looking for earlier, into this kind of 89 level, or I'm sorry, yeah, back up to like 90 or so. It just shy of it right now. Which is the chat room on Discord. Let me show you. Okay, so come to our Discord channel, and let me show you how you can get there. Okay, so come to bookmap.com. You can click on the more button here, and under community, here's our Discord chat right here. Okay, just open that up, and then that'll send you. You know, I have the app open, and it'll send me right to Bookmap here. Okay, on the app, and then it'll send you into this area here. First, you need to verify your email address. Once you got that set up, you can explore in here. There's a whole host of events that we have every day. You'll see multiple events in here, and then we'll scroll down a little bit and look for the live button right here. Right, so here we are in this chat room here, the All Markets webinar room. Right, so now actually this is a voice channel. This is where you know, come here and attend. Click on this, and you know, you can see all the participants in here, and then there's the corresponding chat channel up here. Okay, so with the hashtag chat, All Markets Bruce, and come in here, and then you can see the chat that I'm answering some of the questions in here. Okay, let me know if you have any questions on that. So Rob, let's you know, I keep using you. I just recall, like you know, one day you were trading, and you had a very frustrating day, and you know, it's not like we can all figure out what's happening in here, like we have the right answer. If someone thinks or tells you they have the right answer, run, because the markets are everything shifts and changes, and I am totally convinced that it is by the participants' behavior and the order flow. It has to be. It has to be how this is the only thing that you can do in here to affect the market is by orders. So it has to be within the order flow. Okay, we just don't know how it shifts and changes. Like here's a flip of the order book. Look at this here, all out of the blue here. Okay, high demand, or I'm sorry, high supply here. It pulls, some of it transacts, but there's more demand. They trade up into this area, and then they flip from offer to bid. Now, we didn't see that before. Okay, this happened kind of out of the blue. Right now, if we get more buyers in here, I would look for them to trade back up into 94, 95. Okay. And anyway, what I'm trying to say is by starting to go backwards and understand some of the order flow for the day, that will probably, keep you away from uh, uh, taking trades. Okay, unless it's making really good sense for you, and you're understanding exactly what you're looking at, and you start to understand the behavior in here. Then and it makes good sense. Then you have to take the risk. Well, you don't have to, but like you have an edge, okay? And that's what we're all here for, is an edge, and taking that edge again and again and again. Okay. Now you may have, some of you I know have studied your data, and you have an edge. Now go back and look at the order flow in here to help with that edge. Does it support your trading plan? So for example, what is the environment we're in right now? It's like an ocean here, and different waves and chop and maybe strong waves of demand or supply or whatever, and what's going on. And this is why we even have the our a very, very simple, and I'm going to actually amend it here a little bit, like a day trading prep plan. Looking at the fundamentals first: economic calendar, geopolitical, and then bigger picture technicals, and then coming out with an outlook for the day, and then also looking for your order flow in Bookmap to match your criteria. And that's how you can kind of build out an edge. You have to be prepared for it. Take advantage of that edge, right? So we know that Powell is speaking later. And the markets are kind of like, shifting back and forth, waiting to understand what's going on in here. So you get some of these moves here and they kind of wane and, go the opposite direction. And it can be extremely frustrating if you're looking for, well, I'm looking for exactly this to happen. But what can help filter that out is by going through the order flow and looking back at some of these areas. Like we covered here, trading into here and here, a little bit more demand, and this is maybe a little bit tricky in here. And then we also looked at our flip of the order book, and just right here, okay, right in here at 91 and this 90 and 3/4. Okay, now what happened to that order book flip? It disappeared. Now they're starting to show some interest and we're getting demand. Okay, well, then we look for our 93.5, 94, maybe 95 to trade. Okay, but see what I mean? Like it can be frustrating that someone pulls their interest away and then they add it back in. Okay, once they added it back in and we found our buyers, then we had a slight edge. We're looking for it to trade up into 90, 94 liquidity, maybe 95 now. Can we review the TraderMap Pro and the ES? Sure, no problem. So let's go over. I have it open here, TraderMap Pro. Well, actually, let's start with the ES here, and then I'm going to open up TraderMap Pro here. Okay, and you can look at the one that I already have open here. Right, I'm using the bot remover right here. Okay, this is the setting that I have. We can add another one though, and it depends on what you are looking for, Mr. Ready or MJ Ready. There are many settings in here. Okay, you just want get mine to look like mine. Okay. So let's see. Well, what I have here. Well, this is, I have the bot remover here, and that's it. So here we can open it up here, and here's my bot remover. I just open it up here by opening up the panel, and you can see that I've got the sensitivity on that bot remover just about 3/4 of the way through. That's it. Okay. Now, how is that one working for us? Well, let's jump over to the TraderMap Pro here. Okay, and see how it didn't quite remove some of this in here. Well, maybe I'd adjust the sensitivity a bit more then, right? Because this bot is not being fully removed in here. Okay, what about TraderMap Lite? Well, TraderMap Lite's doing a pretty good job of removing that bot, and there are no settings for TraderMap Lite and the bot remover. Okay, and you should have access if you have MJ. If you have your TraderMap Pro up, and you will be able to mimic exactly what TraderMap Lite does as well. But you have more that slider for that more sensitivity, or you can just open up. You have free access to TraderMap Lite as well. Okay, just download it and use it. So just click on your configure add-ons here, and if you don't see it in here, like right here, go to add-ons manager, and then you'll scroll all the way down to available for install, and then you can install it here. Now I'm using a special new version and I'm testing that. Okay, but you should be able to use, I'm using the same setting for the regular TraderMap Lite right now. Okay. Yep, you're welcome. Yeah, really important. We want to look at the liquidity that matters in here. All right, now let's take a look at this. Looking pretty good for trading up to 95. Okay, now we're getting our buyers in here. We're trading some high liquidity here, so we're going to get a little bit of chop right now. But we're up here again, and we see demand, and we see demand. So we look for a retest back to here, and now we're looking for a curling in of demand right in here at this 92 3/4. Let's see if we can get it here. Okay, and I want to see the order book skew as well, and then we can trade up into 95. Now, why are we looking for 95? I mean, that's where the liquidity is, but this is now multiple times we've come up here, and we see what's happening in here in the behavior in the 15-minute chart as well. We kind of go up to these areas in here, and then we pull back pretty deeply, and then we come back up again and break out and pull back pretty deeply. Okay, so maybe that's going to happen. Right, that's a possible scenario. What will that look like in the order flow? Let's draw it up. This is what it'll look like. We'll have either some trap traders up here trading into high supply, or it exhausts out. Okay. I think I'm going to have to use a whiteboard for this. Yeah, because it's just not going to look good on the chart right now. Hold on a minute. Up. All right, I think this will work. I know another. I know another way this work. Okay, I can just use these two tools. All right, so let's keep an eye on it, and I'll just make the whiteboard a little bit smaller here, and we might as well just use it here. Okay, so what we're talking about was the looking at that 15-minute chart. Start there, okay, and we'll go through some scenarios in here, what we're going to look for in the order flow, because we see again, like, there's more demand coming in overall, but we get these pretty deep pullbacks in here, and then we see it move all the way back up and make a higher high here. All right, so what are we looking for if it doesn't break out. Okay. Well, then we're looking for more demand, or I'm sorry, less demand, more supply, and so we've been trading up into like high liquidity on the. This is not, I don't know how well. Yeah, if I use a bigger brush. Okay, so yeah, so we have we're looking for high demand. I'm sorry, high supply, and then we're looking for price to come up into that area, and then pull back. Maybe it trades into it, then it pulls back, and then we're looking to see a couple different scenarios in the order flow. Maybe higher supply on the offer at a lower level. And maybe there was some demand underneath here as well that kind of pushed it up into that liquidity here, but they pull away. All right, so at that point, we can start to look for maybe a pullback into this high supply, and then we want to see what happens up in here. If we see it completely absorbed the buying pressure, or a total lack of buyers completely, and we start to see bigger sellers start to come in here. And let me change the color on that. Okay, interesting. All right, and we start to see those sellers start to come in, okay, one after another. Then we're looking for this market to go back down and do a deep pullback like it did before. Okay, so deeper pullback like this, okay, or like this, or like this in here. Okay, so we would look for that, and we're not seeing that scenario right now. They're still up here a little bit higher. It's kind of dark in here, right? So that scenario is not unfolding, but it may. We may see all of a sudden the book shift and change. All right, so now we did move down, and what happened up in here? Well, we have some high liquidity up in here around this 93.5 or so, but it's not much, and we just didn't get enough buyers in here to reach that area. We kind of just dribbled off down into these lower levels in here. Okay, so this wasn't really telling us much up at this level here. The only thing it told us is that this swing high here, we're not getting buyers back up above it. Okay, so we didn't really get too much clarity back up at this retest back up in here. Then we get the sellers back down into here, into liquidity at these three levels down here. Okay, again, we're not getting too much clarity right now. We're getting a bit of a pullback, but we're looking for something that is very clear and decisive, and right now we're just not getting much. Okay, so we're just kind of stay away from it. Now this is the London close right now as well, and we know we're going to get some volatility during this market time, and that's very, very typical. So we look for that. Yeah, we add two indices on the chart? Well, we can what we can do is add in the liquidity, I'm sorry, the correlation tracker from one of the add-ons here. I think it's here. No, it's under go to configure add-ons and then look for your correlation tracker right here. And then you can add whatever markets that you have open here. So if you want to add the NASDAQ in here, we can take a look at that. Okay, we'll add it here. Just click the add button and we'll look at NASDAQ. And it gives this line color here, this light blue. And that's that. We'll close it up. You can see up here in the top left, it is loading that and updating the indicator right now. All right, so again, like Rob, getting back into this now, are we getting a little more clarity here? A little bit more, a little bit more. They're on the bid here. They're trading. We see the aggressors coming back in. So yeah, I would look for this move up into 94.5, 95 liquidity here. It's a little late to the game here, but that's what I would look for. And trade management is a whole nother thing that we can talk about maybe tomorrow, but another time. Here's our NASDAQ on here. You can look at the correlation between the two. Okay. All right, guys. Well, anyway, our time's up. It's 11:30 East Coast time. We'll stop the stream here. Tom B is up next. If you want to continue on with your your studies here, he's a volume profile trader, so he's going to go over that exclusively and order flow within the volume profile, okay, or market profile. So yep, thanks for coming, everybody, and please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, or better yet, subscribe to our come over to our Discord channel and subscribe to that, or partake in the community there. You'll get a lot more out of it than just having the live videos on YouTube. Okay, over in Discord, you'll be able to interact, download materials, ask questions, etc. Right, and we've got a lot of really good traders over there. They're going to help you answer your questions as well as just give you additional insight. Okay, that's what the community is all about. Thanks for coming, everybody, and we will check in tomorrow with you, same time. I'll be there on time at 10 a.m. Okay, yeah, thanks for coming. We'll see you then. Bye.